A minute and a half into this contest here at Trailblazer Stadium, live from Lakewood, Colorado, the west side of the Denver metropolitan area. We've got the number 2 team in the state of Colorado taking on number 5. That would be Columbine against Cherry Creek in a battle of top 5 squads who are outstanding and perennial powerhouses here in the state of Colorado in classification 5A. Columbine Rebels under first-year head coach Henry Sulzbacher, 5-0 on the season. Signature win over the Arapahoe Warriors earlier, as you see a shot from up top go a little wide of the goalie in the crease, Gavin Bielman. Cherry Creek Bruins under head coach Matthew Bocklet, also a first-year head coach with his program. The Bruins 4-1 on the season. Visual setup for you. Those are the Bruins with possession in the attacking zone, wearing the blue jerseys, blue shorts, trimmed in white and red, and the white helmets. Columbine defending as you see that shot get through, and that is a score. First one on the board for the Cherry Creek Bruins, and that's off the head of Colin Green, the senior midi. So with 2 minutes into this contest, still early first quarter, 1 on the board, and that's in favor of the visitors. The Cherry Creek Bruins, 9:54 mark. First quarter, Colin Green scores for Cherry Creek. Creek's lone loss to the top team in the state, Regius. That was about a week ago, a 13-12 loss at Stutler Bowl. Able to rebound with a win over Monarch just before the spring break. Columbine, mentioned undefeated. Able to get through Grandview. Roadies against Monarch, Arapahoe, and then 2 wins coming off of their spring break trip in Washington, beating Bainbridge and Mercer Island. 1-0 game right now, just getting started. First quarter, Marty Cesario. Glad to be here with you to experience some elite lacrosse here in the state of Colorado. Honored to be here. In Class 5A, there's, I'd say, a handful, 6 teams who will be in the mix to advance to the Final Four. 2 of them are out on the field. One of them now has a 2-goal lead. And that would be Cherry Creek. That's Gabe Minicini, the junior attackman, at the 9:03 mark in the first quarter to create the 2-goal lead just that quickly for the visiting Cherry Creek Bruins. This will be fun to watch throughout the entire evening. The guys on the face-off X. Dylan Leinhart in white for Columbine, and there's a face-off victory for Luke Rios, the sophomore midi. Rios 33 you saw come off to the bottom of your screen, and now the first line middies are out there for both squads. And here is the first lengthy possession of note for Columbine in the first quarter here at Trailblazer Stadium in Lakewood, Colorado. Columbine in white, blue numerals, down 2 early in this contest. Plenty of time, so methodical patience for the Columbine Rebels on this possession. Glad to have you here on Stream It Sports for this lax game of the week. Pretty eventful night, too, in Colorado lacrosse. In the top 10s, Arapahoe and Kent Denver played a little bit earlier, a 9-8 win for Arapahoe in overtime. Regis and Mountain Vista active today. We'll get you a score update on that game between the top team in the state and Mountain Vista, another one of the powerhouse programs. Here, 2-0 lead for the guys in blue. Cherry Creek on the road visiting Jefferson County. And they have goals by Colin Green at 9:54 and Gabe Minicini at 9:03. And that creates the 2-0 lead as we have a timeout called and we'll have a pause in the action. Let's go ahead and take a look at Cherry Creek and what their resume is for 2018. And you see a start against Chaparral, big wins. They able to beat East. Another win over Wheat Ridge, pretty comfy. And there's that 1-goal loss to Regis not too long ago at Stutler Bowl, and then able to come out with a victory over Monarch most recently. Sitting at 4-1 is Cherry Creek. Here's the resume for the Columbine Rebels. Unblemished so far, 5 wins without a loss, beating the locals, Grandview, Monarch, Arapahoe, and then, of course, those 2 wins on the trip out to Washington. Strong starts for a pair of powerhouse programs, each of them under first-year head coaches. Matt Bocklet for Cherry Creek, Henry Sulzbacher for Columbine. They know each other fairly well, involved with Douglas County lacrosse program. Each of them has some girth to their own playing resumes too. Sulzbacher played at Ohio Wesleyan and then MCLA ball at Montana. Matt Bocklet, although injured this year, a captain for the Denver Outlaws, professional team here in the Mile High City. Right now it's Bocklet's crew with possession, working in the attacking zone with a 2-0 lead. As you see the retreat, an eventual reset. Left side hash, traveling down for Cherry Creek. Jack Morrison playing a little pitch and catch back to the X spot. So Cherry Creek at home, trying to work the angle, and that's great defense on the part of the Columbine Rebels. Peyton Winters doing a nice job, and an unforced error created by excellent defense by the Rebels. Now Leo Grossman is working forward and trying to set up the offense. Grossman, such a great story. Missed 2 years with ACL injuries, both his freshman and sophomore year. Had to sit out, but here in the junior year, he's healthy, and there is Leo Grossman right now with the ball, and just reversing it with David Dooley up top. Columbine trailing by 2 in this first quarter. We're halfway through the opening quarter of this Class 5A battle. Gabe Mean working against the defender John Adams. Flag in the air, and this will create a man-up situation for the Rebels.
Penalty on number 28, John Adams, Cherry Creek for a hold, 32nd technical foul.
So it's a man advantage for the Columbine Rebels. Have yet to score in this first quarter as we're halfway through. Rebels around the horn and then back up top. Stash over to the far side. Trying to get that crossing pass over to Nate Surd. That's poked away by one of the Cherry Creek defenders, but the Rebels will maintain possession and are still a man up. Over the top, there's the feed to the middle, center slot, and a save right in front of the cage by Knox Dent. One of the top goaltenders in the state, a future Army player. He's going to be at West Point next year. So a save by Dent, and still a 2-goal lead for Cherry Creek. Now transitioned over to the left side of your monitor. And back home, a little trouble there, but eventually picking it up was Aiden Burke. And Burke rotates it over to Minicini. Minicini has a goal. So does Colin Green. Cherry Creek has a 2-goal lead here in Lakewood, Colorado. Nice screen. That created opportunity for a moment for Green, but then he got bounced up top. Green able to shag it. Now Cherry Creek's going to reset once again. A lot of movement with the Bruins on this possession. That is Green, and a save by Gavin Beelman. So Beelman makes the save. 2-year starter making doorstep saves all year long. That time came from up top. And a good sight line by Beelman, who makes the save. Rebels now working again with a 2-goal deficit. Dooley advancing forward. Dodges Green, gets the shot off, and a save by Knox Dent. So I've seen some good work by each of the goaltenders, both Knox Dent for Cherry Creek and Gavin Beelman for the Columbine Rebels. A little pressure as Creek tries to clear. And having some issues in doing so. Eventually across the midline, and then whistles blown. And the Rebels awarded possession. I want to thank our sponsors, Clovis Point Capital. Hi to the folks down in Houston who, my understanding, are enjoying this Colorado lacrosse contest here in Lakewood. Also hi to the Darrow family in Hawaii. This broadcast is global on the Stream It Sports Network. The Darrows on the islands. They are invested. You have to call out Nick Darrow's name, but senior captain Nick Darrow, a Mercer University product, out there on the field. Meanwhile, Creek went home and now back up to the near side, trying to set it up top, and they eventually do successfully with senior midi Nick Edwards working dodge left and right. That's good defense on the part of the Rebels. You get the sense Columbine's figuring out how they want to attack defensively. Nice ground ball pickup by Brock Harmon. And then a short stoppage in play briefly. So an error on the clear attempt by Columbine leads to possession here. Dent, the goaltender, way up high, eventually gets it over to John Adams. Aiden Burke working, cradling, right arm, and doesn't want anything to do with the fine defense of Brock Harmon up top. So Creek will reset. Green looking for a center cutter. No one is there. So Brock Harmon, who's another collegiate product, he'll play at Colorado Mesa. Brock kind of in charge of steering that defense with the young man who, for a moment there, had it, Gavin Beelman, the goaltender. So Columbine's figure things out. They got jumped on early, gave up 2 goals by Colin Green and Gabe Minicini. That was within the first couple of minutes of this first quarter. Since then, we've settled in with no scoring, and now we have another timeout on the field. Columbine undefeated at 5-0. A huge test against one of the bell cow programs in Colorado lacrosse, being Cherry Creek. I always call the state championships at the end of the year in Class 5A. The last 7 years, I've seen 3 teams. One of them's out there in Cherry Creek. The other one's Regis and Arapahoe. Every year we wait for one of the other 6 to come into play, and Columbine's always been one of them. They have one semifinals appearance in 2013. but have yet to be able to advance to Mile High Stadium to play for the championship trophy. The other programs, by the way, in the mix: Kent Denver, Mountain Vista, Arapahoe. Two 2-0 lead for Cherry Creek on the right side as they break their huddle. Honestly, I don't expect a lot of scoring in this game. This fits expectations. Some outstanding defense and then just excellent talent all over the field. Columbine likes to be methodical. Take their time. The Rebels have yet to give up more than 6 goals in any contest. They have yielded 2 already. And it is the Rebels of Columbine with possession right now after the timeout. Under a minute to play in the first quarter. Columbine trailing by 2. Over the head of Gabe Mean. And that will be an empty possession for the Rebels offensively. A couple of whistles and then a discussion out at the midfield line. Taylor Gustafson trying to get a read on what the ref's verdict was. He'll stay at the midline. Meanwhile, Cherry Creek advances forward into the attacking zone. Crowd trying to help out with the clock. Some are correct, some are not, based on who you root for. Bruins trying to get through. Good defense, Braden Hogan. And then on the other side, right in front, and gets it through. Between the legs, another goal for Cherry Creek. And that is the second of the evening for Gabe Minicini. 7 seconds left in the first quarter. Minicini able to dodge the defender, and then right at the doorstep solves Gavin Beelman to get one through, and now it's a 3-0 lead for Cherry Creek as Rios and Leinhart will battle once again at the face-off X with under 10 seconds to play in the first. Goal number 2, Gabe Minicini for Cherry Creek, and a 3-0 lead. Long pass downfield, no catch, and quick release down there, and we'll get the siren and end that first quarter of play. So Colin Green, and then 2 by Gabe Minicini, and a 3-0 lead for the Cherry Creek Bruins after 1 on SIS.
Playing the game for many years, and I decided I could either watch from the couch or get on the field and become part of the game.
I became a judge because it was a natural transition from being a gymnast to coach, now judge.
I love the large crowds, the excitement of the game, and you know what? I got the best seat in the house.
Help these kids. Help this community. Become an official.
Getting ready for the second quarter of play. You see the face-off man having exchanges out in the middle. They definitely have much respect for each other. You can just tell that reading at 32 out there at midfield is Dylan Leinhardt, the sophomore midi. And then Luke Rios, face-off man, also a sophomore for Cherry Creek. 3-0 lead as you see on the score bug, the top left-hand corner. Live from Lakewood, Colorado, the Trailblazer Rebels series. Bringing you this Class 5A action, 2 top 5 squads, and the Bruins in the blue had the nice start. A couple of goals by Gabriel Minicini and then one by Colin Green to start things off. And Cherry Creek is up 3 in this game as we just get going in the second quarter. Personnel changes. Nady's come back on. And this will be a possession for the Bruins with that 3-0 lead. Colin Green working against some excellent defense. Some tough long pole work there by Will Chislett. Bruins possession stays alive. Working around that far wing. Knocked down not once but twice by Hogan, and then a shot attempt, and that's a save by Gavin Beelman. There's pressure and tough clear. Beelman goes back to get it. Now you've got a ground ball situation all the way across the field, and Cherry Creek's going to come up with it. Calling for the ball and looking for a quick transition this way was Carson Small, unable to get a hold of it. Now the crowd reacting. Tough to secure possession out there for a little bit. And now the Bruins can settle in as Green checks back in. Connor Terrell working up top, and then he sends it over to Gabriel Minicini. So to start the second quarter, long time with possession. Cherry Creek, there's a shot, and that's wide of the cage. Beelman read that well, let it go through. Closest Creek, they'll keep it. Still 3-0. Just over 2 minutes into the second quarter in Lakewood. Two top 5 teams getting after each other. This is the tests before conference play begins. And there's another save by Beelman. See why Beelman's going to be playing college level ball at Westminster in Utah. Contact, backside, man goes down for the Rebels. Turnover, and here comes Cherry Creek. The Bruins get a center cutter, and they get one through the long pole, able to score for the Bruins. That is Cooper Wisniewski, the sophomore. Coming through the center slot, receives cleanly, and gets another one on the board for Cherry Creek. 9:13 mark, second quarter. Cooper Wisniewski scores. Now a 4-0 lead for the Cherry Creek Bruins. That's surprising. Columbine has been dominant. I've had more than one head coach not on the field talk about Columbine and how strong they have been looking here in the 2018 season. Right now the Rebels have yet to score, and they're trailing by 4 after the Wisniewski score at the 9:13 mark here in the second quarter. The Bruins have 3 different goal scorers. Wisniewski, Green, and then Minicini has 2. Columbine in white has yet to light up the board. There's an opportunity, but mishandled over the middle. Now a huge scrum, and the Bruins come out with it. Ball fakes on the run by John Adams. Yields to one of his middies. Jack Holen. Check from the backside. Ball goes out, and that's a turnover created by some outstanding hustling defense on the part of the senior midi, Nate Surd. Columbine clears successfully. And they're going to send it all the way down to home. Working with it, Patrick Stottlemyre. Stottlemyre against Tyler Wootrick. And then back to that X spot behind the cage. Gabe Mean. Over to Darrow. Back to Nick Darrow. Darrow dodge left. Up to Mean. So Mean and Darrow working together. There's a rocket, goes to Knox Dent, and Dent makes that save. Dent flips it behind his back, tries to clear it. Rebels able to get possession and pushing forward. Here come the Rebels. Jackson trail. Stottlemyre. Right-hand cradle. He'll get behind the cage and over to the near side. Grossman has it. So the Rebels starting to find themselves in terms of how they want to attack. Last possession, outstanding. Able to get a Nick Darrow release, point blank into the face of Knox Dent. Credit Dent for making the save in goal. But here come the Rebels again. Gabe Mean. Looking to roll and then find a center cutter, unable to connect with Jackson Trail. And Cherry Creek will clear, and they do so across the midline successfully. 5.5 minutes into the second quarter, 4-0 lead for Cherry Creek in the blue. Columbine in white defending, down 4. The Rebels of Columbine undefeated in this early season. Creek charging. They have a liking to sending it back up top, and now they're going to go back behind the cage and work from there. Crowd reacting. That ball hit to the net. No goal. Beelman gets it. Watch out behind you. Back check coming. And a good job hustling forward. He did lose it. That's Mitchell Tiedman. Tiedman having trouble and sent down to the turf. And that will be a turnover forced by some attacking defense on the part of Cherry Creek and Jack Morrison, the senior midi. See what the Rebels defense can do here, down 4. Now Cherry Creek taking their time as they push forward. Bounce pass to the interior right in front of Beelman. Contact heavy, dropped the Bruin to the turf. The Bruins are going to keep possession. A lot of contact absorbed right in front of the cage by Aiden Burke. Gets right back up though. Lacks tough. And that was impressive showing of D-men protecting their goaltender Beelman. Right to the middle, that's off. The Bruins are going to keep it. Thought something opened up there for Cherry Creek, but Henry Savage elected to go back to the interior, and now you got a ball going all the way across the back line, and so that's a good job by the defense of Columbine, forcing an empty possession, still down 4 with about 4.5 minutes left in the second quarter. undefeated Columbine, trailing by 4. They've had 2 excellent possessions. Right up front, there's a shot. And that came off the head of Tanner Hollins. Another one gets to Knox Dent, but it does not go through number 2. So far, Knox Dent yet to be solved. Here in the back end of the second quarter, he has been challenged in the Cherry Creek zone. Chaos, midline, possession, Columbine. So you've seen some active possessions on the part of Columbine in the offensive zone. Just can't get one through yet. Stottlemyre to Leo Grossman.
Come on, Leo.
Nowhere to go for Grossman. He settles back. Andy Stash now with possession. On the left throw, down low. This side to Tanner Hollins. Hollins releases, and a save by Knox Dent. Creek advancing quickly, looking to take a shot immediately. They do and score. Cherry Creek now has 5 on the board. Aiden Burke with his first goal of this contest. The sophomore attack.
Let's go, Rebels!
As you look here, receives it on that far wing. Chooses stick side, high right shoulder of the goaltender, and gets it through. So Aiden Burke finds Twine 5-0 lead, Cherry Creek. Leinhardt wins the faceoff. And then as Braden Hogan advances forward, Coach Sulzbacher and Columbine want to take a timeout, and we'll take it with them. Cherry Creek up 5 in Lakewood.
There comes a time in every athlete's life when their participation in sports is coming to an end, and so officiating is a way to stay involved.
The day I started officiating is just as fun as now.
When I'm officiating, making decisions, a decision that's instantaneous, for me there's no greater feeling.
I became an official because I wanted to give back.
Get off the couch and get into the game.
Become an official.
Did you know the Denver Post has live audio broadcasts of high school sports games? Listen to the Game of the Week on Post Preps Radio. Go to denverpost.com/preps to find upcoming games or listen to archived coverage.
About 2.5 minutes left here in the first half. Class 5A lacrosse action, Stream It Sports. 2 top 5s, Columbine Rebels undefeated at 5-0, trailing by 5 to the Cherry Creek Bruins, the defending champions in the state of Colorado. Right now the Bruins look really strong. Up 5. Had possession for most of the game. Most often, until recently, the Rebels have had excellent possessions the last 3 or 4 times. Unable to get through that guy, number 2 in goal. And Creek awarded possession after that. That was the quickest possession for the Rebels in the last, say, 7 minutes of clock time. We have only had 1 flag in this first half. That actually created a man-up situation for Columbine. Again, unable to score, as you can see on the score bug. Still being blanked by Knox Dent, the goaltender, and the Cherry Creek defense. Meanwhile, Bruins advancing forward with possession right now. Up 5 in this game. Stick head to the face there for a moment. There's a cutter, left-hand shot, and a score. Great read and exchange. Henry Savage now on the board for Cherry Creek. That was pretty. So much time dodging defenders, getting love out there, Gabe Minicini, and eventually, as you see on this replay, across the way, calling for it Savage with a lot of space, and he goes stick side over the shoulder high. So at the 1:15 mark in the second quarter, Cherry Creek gets another goal by senior attackman Henry Savage, who, by the way, will play at Ohio Wesleyan, which is where the Columbine head coach Henry Sulzbacher started his college career. Now we have another pause in the action and a timeout. So Savage scores to make it 6-0. Pretty impressive performance. I'm probably understating that, right? A very impressive performance here in the first 2 quarters of play by Cherry Creek. Creek with just the 1 loss on the year, and that was not too long ago against Regis. Happy to be here for this outstanding matchup. I'm Marty Cesario on Stream It Sports. Feel free to pop me on Twitter if you want to engage on the Twitters. There's my handle. I don't have to spell it out. All right, I like that. Whole lot of vowels. Little ethnic hit on myself. At Stream It Sports. If you want to tap the network. Here in Lakewood, Colorado, we are live. The Trailblazer Rebel Lax Series. First of 4 games that'll be presented on the, call it the back half of the season. Coming up at halftime, someone who knows Class 5A lacrosse very well and has had some success as a state champion. Knows these 2 squads well and their staffs. We'll have Chris Knott, former head coach from Wheat Ridge, visiting with us. We'll source him for a credible react of what's been going on through 2 quarters of play. Right now, 6-0, Cherry Creek with the lead. Me saying that's a little surprising. Low scoring, that fits my expectations. But the Rebels being blanked and Cherry Creek up 6, I don't know if I was expecting that. Meanwhile, the Bruins have possession after that timeout. 5 different goal scorers for Cherry Creek, and now you can make that number 3 for Gabriel Minicini. At the 42-second mark, here's the replay. This time, instead of feeding Savage across the way, Minicini takes the shot himself. The release is true, and he scores his 3rd here in the first half. Minicini at the 42-second mark, 7-0 lead for Cherry Creek. Crowd happy with the work of the sophomore, Dylan Lionheart. Rebels pushing up. Ball popped loose. Check from behind. Knox Dent again behind the back. Trying to get a read on scores from across the state. We know Arapahoe beat Kent Denver in overtime 9-8 earlier today. Regis and Mountain Vista were playing. We're interested. That time, point blank rage. Gabe Mean trying to get one through to entertain his family members in Brazil. Hola. Right now, nada for Columbine. That's reality. Mean couldn't get one through. Dent sends it downfield. And that is how we're going to finish one half of play. Ball got through. Columbine fans wanted that. Goal not going to be awarded to the Columbine Rebels. So with a 7-0 deficit, the Rebels in white, first to the locker rooms. Cherry Creek in blue, feeling pretty good. Gabe Minicini with a hat trick. He has 3. And the Bruins are come back and talk to Chris Knott here on Stream It Sports.
After playing the game for many years, and I decided I could either watch from the couch or get on the field and become part of the game.
I became a judge because it was a natural transition from being a gymnast to coach, now judge.
I love the large crowds, the excitement of the game, and you know what? I got the best seat in the house.
Help these kids. Help this community. Become an official.
Did you know the Denver Post has live audio broadcasts of high school sports games? Listen to the Game of the Week on Post Preps Radio. Go to denverpost.com/preps to find upcoming games or listen to archived coverage.
After playing the game for many years, and I decided I could either watch from the couch or get on the field and become part of the game.
I became a judge because it was a natural transition from being a gymnast to coach, now judge.
I love the large crowds.
Halftime show, Trailblazers Stadium, Lakewood, Colorado. Cherry Creek in this battle of top fives with a 7-0 lead. Marty Cesario with special guest Chris Knott. Coach for 14 years with Wheat Ridge?
14, yeah.
14 years, including a state championship on his resume. Chris Knott in the building to give us a credible react as to what occurred in those first 2 quarters. Chris, the Rebels down 7. Did you expect that?
No, not at all. I fully anticipated this to be a great first half, a little bit of jitters in the first 4 minutes by Columbine especially, not being in this position before, playing, a top team like Cherry Creek, but not what I expected at this point at all. Columbine definitely needs to slow down, take some possession, get some good looks on goal. I think they only had 4 or 5 shots on goal, and as we talked a few minutes ago, making Knox Dent look like a superstar out there. But he's not having to work to make a save. They're hitting him blank right in the chest, so makes it easy when that happens.
In what ways are the Bruins taking Columbine away from the type of game that they like to execute?
I honestly believe that Columbine's taking themselves out of the game right now. I'm not knocking Creek's defense at all. They're good. I got to watch them in the Regis game. and watch them tonight. They're good. But as you can see that, they're double clutching their sticks and a lot of dropping the ball, not able to pick up the loose balls. Nothing is bouncing their way right now. And, they're just turning the ball over without stick checks. It's just pretty much just falling out, and they're not able to get it back. So, in my opinion, they're the ones taking themselves out of the game right now. So, I don't know what their coach is saying in there at halftime, but if it was me, I'd be telling them slow down. We need to get a nice long possession. That's the thing that Columbine didn't have, was a nice long possession. Everything's 2 or 3 passes, shot on goal, which not a good shot selection, or turnover and going the other way.
Chris Knott is visiting with us here at halftime. 7-0 lead for Cherry Creek. We're reacting to what we're seeing. Again, it's top 5 teams, and I talked to more than one head coach not on the field today, and they were saying Columbine is strong, and they're just not getting it done so far. What are the things that you think Columbine can do to get back in this game?
Well, it starts right at the first whistle at the face-off X.
Okay.
They got to do a little bit better there and see what they can make happen. Because right now, I think they've only are about 2 out of 8, 2 out of 9, something like that on the face-off X, and that's not going to cut it to get you back in the game. So that's how they got to come out, one thing at a time. Win that first face-off, get that first ground ball, work themselves up the field, get that first nice shot that they make Knox work for to make a save or at least get a goal out of it. Their defense is tired. And they started out and you could hear them communicating, talking from the sideline. Now you're not hearing that. Now you're seeing frustration, sticks slapping on the ground, stuff like that. They need to take control, regain their composure, settle down, and they'll get back in this game.
So way better than any of us do here with the crew. It starts that face-off X, and in a game where we had a matchup not only with 2 powerhouse programs, but 2 studs, sophomores on the face-off X. You're saying Luke Rios is winning that battle right now.
Rios is taking it to him for sure right now, and good for them. And I mean, hats off to Creek. Creek came out knowing what they wanted to do. They're moving the ball well, and they're putting it in the back of the net. And, Gavin Bielman's not a slouch over there in goal.
No.
He's going to Westminster next year, and, they just got to put it together. And like I say, it's, coaching in the past, and I was always told by a great coach, actually a former Cherry Creek head coach, Brian Perry, when you get into these big games, teams don't really believe they can beat that team until they do the first time.
Right.
And with Columbine, they've beaten Creek all off season, but it matters tonight, and it's going to matter at the end of the season. So you got to beat them during the regular season, and once they do that and they get that first victory against that big team, then it's going to start rolling for them. But they got to start out by taking control tonight.
Well, it's funny you say that because that was part of my conversation with Henry Sulzbacher. He was saying that considering what the Jeffco League is about, this was their opportunity to get a signature win before they enter a conference play that may not be as strong as, hanging out with Cherry Creek's Regis and stuff like that. Well, right now, they're having a hard time, right?
They are, but they had a great trip, spring break trip, and, they won their games out there. But, they got 2 quarters left. Let's see what they can do. I'm not giving up on them yet. They got a big mountain to climb against a great team, but I think they can get back in this game.
Well, the game, and I actually, earlier today, I covered the Kent-Denver Arapahoe game. Arapahoe dominated that entire thing. 6 consecutive goals by Kent-Denver to tie things up to force overtime. So your game better than any of us, right? Anything can happen.
Yes.
We got a long way to go.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that so much. Chris Knott, longtime head coach here in Jefferson County. Right now, Cherry Creek firmly established in the lead, up 7. We have 2 more quarters of play to come in Lakewood on Stream It Sports. Getting ready for second half of play here at Trailblazer Stadium in Lakewood. Cherry Creek leading 7-0. Thanks again to Chris Knott, longtime head coach, for visiting with us. Let's look at the starters for each of these squads as reset before these final two quarters. There's the Cherry Creek Bruins and what they put out there to get things going. Rios dominating at the faceoff X. Minicini, the junior, has 3 goals in this game, and you see Knox Dent, the goaltender, at the bottom. So strong. For Columbine, well, right there, getting ready to battle Rios, Dylan Leinhart, Mitchell Tiedman, one of the strong defensemen, along with Will Chislett. Brock Harmon has played well defensively. Gavin Beelman. And it's kind of I don't know, it throws you off that Beelman's given up 7 goals, but really it's been Cherry Creek playing so well. A couple of guys there that you saw, including Gabe Mean, need to establish themselves as attackmen out there on the field for Columbine. So you see play just getting underway, and call that a win for Dylan Leinhart, who actually receives the ball right away, so he will not substitute out for one of the first-line middies. Leinhart's going to stay out there, and Columbine will start the second half with possession, but again, down 7 goals in this game. 3 in the first, 4 in the second for Cherry Creek. The Rebels in white, trailing by 7, but working with possession right now. Looking for a lengthy possession from Columbine here. Nick Darrow working with it. See trades and exchanges from the top players. Darrow to Gabe Mean. A couple of future collegiate players. Mean working this side. Is he going to release? No. Back up top. And then over to the far wing. Nate Surd being tracked by Ethan Adams. And then back up top to Gabe Mean. This looks like a Columbine possession right here. This is why they are 5-0. Ball goes down. Swept away by Tyler Wootrick, and quickly transitions the ball, Cherry Creek, all the way down field, just like that, to where middies have to come in and into the attacking zone to get into your play or into your screen. There's an errant shot attempt that was wide, so it hit the net on the outside. See how the Rebels defense does here. Technically the first period of time at any length that now Columbine has to dig their heels into the ground and stand tall against a team that's already scored 7 on them. Bruins in all blue, left shoulder trim in red, wearing the white helmets. They are up 7. Colin Green opened the scoring. Nick Edwards, dodge left, right, but good defense by Nick Darrow. Shot from up top, Colin Green, able to get another one on the board for Cherry Creek, his second of the game. Colin Green at the 9:33 mark in the third quarter. And there's a look at the replay. A subtle screen by one of his teammates. Then Green got free up top, and you saw him crank it and release, and able to get one through. So Green scores his second for Cherry Creek, and it's now an 8-goal lead. I don't think anybody here and anybody in the lacrosse community can believe this score right now. This is surprising, and it's no discredit saying that to Cherry Creek. We know what they are. Again, there's 3 teams that have been the bell cows for the past decade, and that's Creek, Regis, and Arapahoe. But so many good things were being said, so much great execution accomplished by Columbine, coming into this game undefeated after a successful trip to Washington. And for the Rebels to be down 8, I think that's fair to say it's surprising. 3 minutes into the third quarter. A lot of work to do for the guys in white from Columbine. I mean, we can qualify that. Down 8 and have yet to score. See if the Rebels can put something together here on this possession. Mean centers it, and there it is. So Mean able to feed Taylor Gustafson. And the Rebels have popped the cork on a Taylor Gustafson goal at 8:41 in the third quarter. So the junior attack, Gustafson gets one through. Sometimes you just need to feel what that's like. Tyler gets it through, and that's the first goal on the board, and we'll see if Leinart can win this faceoff against Luke Rios. And that's not going to be the case as Rios wins, advances, takes a shot. The bounce attempt over the head of Beelman. Possession remains with Cherry Creek. Colin Green with the left cradle, near side hash. Most recent goal scorer for Cherry Creek. Battle for the ground ball. Who's going to get to it? Thought it was going to get into the crease and eventually does, so Beelman picks it up safely. And then pressure right in front of Beelman forces the ball down, but here comes the clear. Nick Darrow. He's got numbers. 4-on-3. Ooh, and a mishandled ball. Long pole comes out with it. Now that's back down at the midline and eventually picked up by Columbine's Nate Surd. They're Surd with it right now. Over to Jackson Trail. Darrow over to Trail. Trail reads the screen. Defenders get in the way. That's good work defensively by Cooper Wisniewski, who has a goal in this game. Man down. Crowd reacts. Colin Green gets back up. Meanwhile, splitting defenders, Cherry Creek getting a shot off, and there's a save by Gavin Beelman. Most recent score by the Columbine Rebels, despite what you see on the board. Tyler Gustafson at the 8:41 mark, about 2 minutes ago on the clock. And here's Columbine taking their time. Gabe Mean. Flip, shot, save. Knocks Dent. That was a sharp exchange between Mean and one of his teammates, but Knox Dent read it all the way and made the save off the ground. Dent continues to look like a superstar out there with just one goal yielded. West Point's going to be quite pleased to have Knox Dent. They may be witnessing this right now, and that should validate any considerations about having Knox Dent come to play for them out east. Creek taking their time with that 7-goal advantage. Great backside help. A check on the shot attempt by Jack Hinson, the senior D-man. Good work by the long pole there. Ooh, a nifty attempt by Cherry Creek's Henry Savage. That's Savage getting the ground ball, and then he is knocked to the ground. Play continues. No whistles. Braden Hogan. Good clear by Hogan with the samurai tails. Now Columbine will wait for Leo Grossman to get out on the field. There's Grossman receiving right now up top at the point. The Grossman release. Saved by the face mask of Knox Dent. Ground ball scrum. Bruins come out with it. The long pole lost its head. We've got war debris out on the field at Trailblazer. A pass attempt across the way by John Adams. Good job getting the ground ball, but then a stick in the way of his pass attempt. And, well, someone's going to have to pull out the screwdriver to try to reapply that head onto the shaft. Columbine keeps possession, though. And they've scored the most recent goal, and now they've got another one. Put that on the board for Tanner Hollins. The sophomore, Tanner Hollins, at the 3:54 mark in the third quarter. Columbine has scored the last 2 goals in this lacrosse contest. Football fans know Tanner Hollins, pretty good running back for Andy Lowry. Showing some studly work out there playing the Lax, too. I like the story that Henry Sulzbacher, the head coach for Columbine, says. Hollins, you don't even know the peak of what he can be. Just a sophomore, he could run around a tournament with a sign that says 2020 and get an offer. Hollins scored at the 3:54 mark in the third quarter. The Rebels react because they're going to get possession of the ball, scoring the most recent 2 goals. Hollins will wait for the go signal. The Rebels clear safely. Jack Hinson pushing forward, yielding to Gabe Mean. Mean has not scored tonight. Gustafson and Hollins have the 2 Rebels goals. Gabe right in front, doorstep, and he scores. Hello, Utah. Gabe Mean has put one into the net. Several Colorado players who will join the Utah Utes lacrosse program next year as they enter D1 participation. Gabe Mean on his own, unassisted. Here's the replay. 37, gets in front of the crease. Bam! Over the top of Knox Dent, and he scores. Gabe Mean at the 3:16 mark in the third. And here comes Columbine within 5 after being down 8 to start the second half. And now Dylan Leinhart has found himself at the faceoff X. And here come the Rebels once again. Up front, save, Dent, up in the air. Somebody find it. Who's it going to be? Sweep forward by Creek, but possession awarded to the Rebels. Life is back for the Rebels of Columbine. They've scored the last 3 goals in this contest, all in this quarter. About 2.5 minutes left. Darrow working. Yield back up top. Surd. Inside, ball down. Surd's going to chase after it, takes contact to the backside. Surd comes out with it. Darrow calling for it. No, Surd's going to advance forward. The crowd wanted him to advance all the way and go to goal, but it's too much chaos and a lot of defenders, and Cherry Creek's going to come up with it. Jack Kinney gets it to his goaltender and then across the way. And now the Bruins have a little more space to clear. Here comes Cherry Creek. They've yielded 3 unanswered to Columbine. The defending champions, Cherry Creek, currently with 1 loss on the young season to the top-ranked team in the state, Regis. Ranked 5th, as much as you want to accept rankings. I think there's a half a dozen teams that could be all grouped. I mean, really, consensus is Regis is number 1. The rest, all in the mix, legitimately, and that's valid. But right now, Cherry Creek ranked 5th, Columbine 2, according to the Denver Post Preps poll. Hello to Kyle Newman. Daniel Boniface. Empty possession there. Forced by the Rebels defense. Under a minute to play in the third. Problems trying to clear. Here comes Creek. Ooh, that's a nice step through by Minicini. And a shot right in front of Beelman and a score for the Bruins. Aiden Burke, his second goal of the game. And who'd he receive it from? Gabe Minicini, who's having himself a marvelous game for sure. Minicini steps through 2 defenders as he saw in the replay, and then Burke receives on the doorstep and puts it through. So that stops the momentum for just a moment. Rebels had scored 3 in a row, but Burke just put one through at the 49-second mark here in the third. Back to a 6-goal lead for Cherry Creek. Lionheart won that face-off. Quick setup for the Rebels offensively. Awareness of how much time is left here in this third. Man down, tough defense. Not much time left. We're going to set it back up top. Only 5 seconds left. There's a shot over the head of Knox Dent. Mean is closest. And Gabe's going to immediately get the play going. Not much time, and tries to take a radical angled shot, and just not enough space there to get it through. But the Rebels did put 3 on the board. We still got ourselves a game, but Creek certainly in the lead, up by 6 at the end of 3.
There comes a time in every athlete's life when their participation in sports is coming to an end, and so officiating is a way to stay involved.
The day I started officiating is just as fun as now.
When I'm officiating, making decisions, a decision that's instantaneous, for me there's no greater feeling.
I became an official because I wanted to give back.
Get off the couch and get into the game.
Become an official.
Have you checked the latest Colorado Preps Power Rankings? They're released weekly at denverpost.com/preps. Again, that's denverpost.com/preps.
There comes a time in every athlete's life when
fourth quarter getting started here, Trailblazers Stadium. Final frame here in this Class 5A battle between juggernauts. Undefeated Columbine gave up 8 consecutive goals, but they scored 3 in the third to get back into this thing, and now they have possession after Gabe Mean gets the ground ball. Now Tanner Hollins will work against Jack Kinney. Here's Nick Darrow. Mean, Hollins, and Gustafson scored for the Rebels in the third quarter. Fair to say, scoring-wise, the Rebels won that quarter, scoring 3 and yielding 2. Here's a shot by the Rebels, and it didn't get through to Knox Dent. How about that long carom? I didn't see if that went off the post or a human being, but it went all the way back to midfield. The velocity on a lacrosse ball, it'll impress you, startle you, scare you. We're a minute into the fourth quarter. 6-goal advantage, Cherry Creek in the blue. Columbine in white. Looking to make a miraculous surge, and there's a goal! Nate Surd, the senior midi, has put another on the board for the Columbine Rebels. I think it's fair to say, whatever we saw in the first quarter extending into the second, the Rebels are recalibrating themselves to being what a lot of people in the lacrosse community have come to be really impressed with in 2018. 10:46 mark, fourth quarter. Nate Surd scores for Columbine to get the Rebels back to within 5. Four out of the last 5 goals scored in this game have come off the sticks of the Columbine Rebels. And now Surd will go scoop it up, and he gets the go whistle. And see Nate pushing far side. Is he going to goal? No. Knox Dent getting aggressive, going back to the X spot. Now we'll settle in. Tanner Hollins had one of those goals in the third. Getting pushed from the backside. Gabe Mean back home. Looking to make that turn. Defense read it well. John Adams doing a nice job with his new stick. Third quarter, Adams, who's releasing right there, lost a head. Colin Green with it for Cherry Creek. He has 2 goals in this contest. About 9.5 minutes left. 4-1 Cherry Creek with the 5-goal advantage over undefeated Columbine. Nice receive on the jump by Nick Edwards there. Keep this possession alive, and they will send it back to the point for Colin Green, who will advance far side hash, getting harassed by Will Chislett. Gavin Beelman in net, constantly communicating with the guys in the white jerseys in front of him. Rebels covering well. And we have an injured player. This is odd. Coming off the screen is Henry Savage. I believe that pass was sent his way, but Savage wanted nothing to do with it. Now the long clear and the crowd moans. Missed opportunity there for the Rebels, as that went way out of bounds. Still plenty of time. Man down, but possession for Columbine. So there's another Cherry Creek Bruin. Scott Ransom, the senior mid, he's going to come off the field. He's on the right side of your monitor. Another next level player. He'll play at Benedictine College in Lisle, Illinois. Want an interesting note, by the way? I told Coach Bocklet that I don't think he appreciated it because it had to do with basketball. But you want to Final Four in basketball, Porter Mosier, the head coach of Loyola, went to Bennett Academy in Lisle, Illinois. The school across the street is Benedictine College that Scott Ransom is going to attend and play lacrosse for. Tie that in. Timely because March Madness just ended. Meanwhile, up front, Columbine scores! And that's a goal for Nate Surd. He's collected the last two for the Rebels of Columbine High. .7:45 mark, fourth quarter. Nate Surd scores his second in the quarter. Columbine within 4. Can almost sense the coaching messages from Henry Sulzbacher. Step by step, get one at a time. They've done that. Okay, now you've rebuilt confidence. You belong with this team, the defending champions in Cherry Creek. And now let's add more. Right in front, it's a score, and there is another one. Long pole. Cutting through Andreas Lucero, the sophomore. And guess what? The Rebels are within 3. Oh yeah, a timeout. As you look at the replay, feed it to Lucero, he puts it through, and we've got ourselves a 3-goal game on Stream It Sports.
Part of the next Post Preps TV broadcast, pull out those phones. If you've got video of an amazing high school sports highlight, we want to see it. Send it to us so you could be featured in the social spotlight segment of Post Preps TV. Tweet it to us at Post Preps or at Kyle Newman DP, or send us a message on our Facebook page. Your clip might make the cut and be featured on the next episode of Post Preps TV. Colorado's news, wherever you are, whenever you want it. Watch it online 24/7, denverpost.com/DPTV.
Have you checked the latest Colorado Preps Power Rankings? They're released weekly at denverpost.com/preps. Again, that's denverpost.com/preps.
Back to the face-off X. 7.5 minutes to go in a game that had been dominated by the defending champions. Matt Bocklet's crew was outstanding. establishing an 8-0 lead in this game. Ooh, they look good. Columbine has scored 6 of the last 7 goals in this game. You can hear the crowd through our field microphones. I think the fans are re-engaged from both sides. By the way, Columbine Lax fans always show up. Props to the Cherry Creek community, too. See a lot of red, white, and blue out there underneath us. Meanwhile, play continues. Still a 3-goal advantage for Cherry Creek. Gabriel Minicini has been outstanding in this game. Colin Green has 2 goals. He just had it. Back up to Minicini. Little trouble there. Able to get the ground ball. Bounced right up to him. Here's a shot coming from Cherry Creek, and they score. Senior middle, Nick Edwards. His first goal of the game for Cherry Creek. .624 mark. Edwards, assisted by Minicini again. And now the Bruins have reached double digits. Again, it was 6 of the last 7 scores came from the sticks of Columbine Rebels. Cherry Creek able to get one through. Another beautiful play by Minicini, feeding his teammate. That time it was Nick Edwards, .624 mark, 4th quarter. Back to a 4-goal advantage as Columbine works across the midline. Andy Stash not affected by that contact. Patrick Stottlemyre has it. Over to Gabe Mean. Mean has scored here in the second half. Four-goal spread in favor of Cherry Creek defending. Mean shoots. And I think that went off the post and all the way to the far side and out of bounds. Good clean opportunity there, unobstructed by Gabe Mean, unable to get it through. Knox Dent pushing all the way forward. Ball down and the Rebels come up with it. That is Gabe Mean across the way. By the way, check around Twitter if you want to see a good story. Nice article written by the Denver Post. It was Kyle Newman who wrote that piece on Gabe Mean. How about that for a 2018 comment? Don't go to the newsstands. Go to the Twitter to read the newspaper article. Well, no joke for the Rebels as they are still down 4 with about 4.5 minutes left. Getting dominated early, but they've rediscovered themselves, playing quite well in the second half. Cherry Creek, though, get a Nick Edwards goal recently to get the Bruins to double digits, back to a 4-goal lead. Look at that hustle defense to get into the play and a score. How about that? I'm crediting the defense, but we all should give love to Patrick Stottlemyre. Between defenders, somehow gets it through. Look at the replay. Stottlemyre absorbs contact backside, getting harassed from the front, falling to his knees. Gets it past another defender and through Knox Dent for the score. 4:15 mark, 4th quarter. Patrick Stottlemyre, his first. Columbine back to within 3. Crowd cheering on Leinart. He does win it. Now we have a timeout called. So once possession established, Coach Sulzbacher elects to take a timeout and talk it out with about 4 minutes left. And a 3-goal game, the defending champs still with the lead here at Trailblazer.
What's up with the Broncos quarterback situation? Did you see that triple-double Nikola Jokic put up? And how about that walk-off home run at Coors Field last night? I'm Alexis Perry, and I've got all of those stories and more right here with the Denver Post Sports Minute. Stay up to date with the Broncos, Rockies, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rapids, and even college sports. You're busy, we get it. That's why the quick-hitting Denver Post Sports Minute is so easy to find. Just go to denverpost.com/video or like us on Facebook to have the Sports Minute on your newsfeed each and every day. Wherever you are, whenever you want it, watch the Denver Post Sports Minute 24/7 at denverpost.com.
Got an idea you think would make a great story in the Denver Post? Submit it at denverpost.com/news tips.
About 4 minutes left. 3-goal game. Trailblazer Stadium, Lakewood, Colorado. We are live. Class 5A powerhouses. In the hashtag MLAX. In the Jeffco. Started out with domination by the defending champion Cherry Creek Bruins. 8-0 lead at the 9:33 mark in the third quarter. Since then, a whole lot of Rebel comeback, and here comes more. Up front, Darrow right in front of the crease. Ball goes up, and then a whistle blown. Stoppage in play for just a moment. And Knox Dent will be awarded possession for a second. Ball advanced to midfield. And that's where Colin Green will pick it up. So the Bruins have a 3-goal lead, but definitely have been challenged in the second half. All 7 of the Rebels' goals have occurred in the second half of play. At one point, the Bruins were leading 8-0 after Colin Green scored his second goal of the game to start off the second half. But now, the story's changed a bit. Gotten a whole lot more interesting. Ooh, the crowd reacting. That was an open shot for Connor Terrell. Beelman had left the crease. Bruins taking their time. If you look down low, Beelman is guarding attackers and leaving the crease. Look on the right side. And eventually, Cherry Creek takes advantage of that situation. As Connor Terrell does get a shot towards the net and scores, as you'll see in the replay. I believe you were watching that along with us. The goaltender Gavin Beelman guarding attackers. Not once but twice, junior midi Connor Terrell had an open look at the net. The second time, he recognized it and put one through. So Terrell scores at the 3:01 mark in the fourth quarter. Now 2 of the last 3 goals collected by Cherry Creek, and Luke Rios with another win at the faceoff X. Rios has been outstanding. The way things started off, Rios against Leinhart, I mean, that was a huge battle. And Rios, most of the time, came out victorious on those faceoffs in the first half, as Cherry Creek had established that command. Ball gets through to Knox Dent, but Dent makes the save. He retreats, shields himself with his own cage, now trying to find some help, and it's Green all the way back down. Long throw, cleared. Ball down. Columbine can't come up with it. Good to see Henry Savage is fine. In the fourth quarter, he came out for a moment, feeling his rib cage. Seems to be okay. Under 2 to play. And now we're going to have a verdict to where Columbine quickly jumps on the ball, and here come the Rebels. Flip to Mean. And here's an open attempt. Oh, and a save by Knox Dent. Great opportunity for Columbine's Leo Grossman. But a nice save by Knox Dent, which we have seen often in this game. Mr. Dent, who has it right now, proven here on global television. Long pass, successful, shot made. How about that for a highlight? Beelman, 3/4 of the way down the field, received cleanly by Tanner Hollins. Spin move, turn, and he scores. There's the replay. Over the top of Knox Dent. Tanner Hollins with his second goal of the game. Of course, the Bruins still in good position, up 3, and there's only 72 seconds left in this lacrosse game. Sophomore Studs again on the X, and Rios thought he had command for a moment, flipped it backwards. Neil Sklar, the Viking, getting his long pole on it, and then a whistle blown and a timeout called. I believe that's Matt Bocklet, so we'll eavesdrop in on Cherry Creek as Coach Bocklet groups up with his guys. On the left side of your monitor, that is head coach Matt Bocklet talking to Knox Dent. Giving a high five there to one of his players. Bocklet, nice resume. Played at Fairfield, then at Johns Hopkins. Captain for the Denver Outlaws. Took over this program. Despite that kind of resume, you talk about following a legend, Brian Perry. After a championship victory last year in 2017, it's a lot to take on. Glad to have you here for our Stream It Sports Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you in part by Clovis Point Capital. Shout out to Houston. .64 seconds left in the game after the timeout pause. After that 8-goal start by Cherry Creek, this game has basically reset itself into everything we expected. Tough, hard-nosed, skilled, and pretty tight. Just a 3-goal spread. Right now, the Bruins in good shape. They have possession as Minicini, that's appropriate, moving forward. He has 3 goals in this game and countless assists. I don't have official stats in front of me, but assists may be some of the bigger highlights of the game beyond the 3 goals by Minicini. Lost it that time, and here come the Rebels. Mitchell Tiedman, long clear, ball down, whistle blown as Chislett tried to pick it up, and now Henry Sulzbacher will take a timeout. Coach Sulzbacher has the white hat on the left side of your screen and the dark vest. I think his guys regained themselves after being jumped on early. That's fair. And then it really looked bad when Colin Green scored to open up the third quarter. But then 6 of the next 7 goals collected by the Columbine Rebels. And they've traded and traded. Look at games coming up for Cherry Creek. They've got Cherokee Trail. This is a period of time because of the snow last week. The matchup with Mountain Vista for Cherry Creek got postponed. So it's 5 games in 9 days for Cherry Creek. We look at Columbine and their upcoming opponent. They're going to start conference play, and they'll take on Lewis Palmer out of Monument. Talked a little bit about that earlier on as we look at our next broadcast here in the Trailblazer Rebel Axe series. Columbine will take on Chatfield. That will be coming up on the 13th of April. So in about a week. Columbine against Chatfield. That'll be coming up, and that will be live from this facility, Trailblazer Stadium in Lakewood, Colorado. Nick Darrow to the inside, trying to get through. Ooh, spin move twice. And over the top for a score. Nick Darrow, the future Mercer Bear, gets his first goal of the game. And I believe his fans are pleased. .25-second mark. Nick Darrow scores his first. Columbine is within 2. Only 25 seconds left. Right now the crew's saying Lionheart's got to win this and just work down the field immediately if Columbine wants to force overtime. Instead, Luke Rios has been outstanding in this game. And really, Cherry Creek's fine with this. Killing time. That was 13 seconds before anybody could get possession. Columbine able to get it, but then a whistle blown. That worked out perfectly, and again, the catalyst. The sophomore middle, Luke Rios. Final ticks, and that'll be it. And the defending champions, Cherry Creek, grabbed their 5th win of the season. They've lost once, and that was to number 1 Regis by 1 goal at Stutler Bowl last week. Columbine dropping to 5-1. They suffer their first defeat of the season. But I think they discovered themselves later on in the game, and that was the Columbine team that people had talked about and who we expect to see the rest of the season. They're both still powerhouses in Class 5A lacrosse. It's been a production of Stream It Sports. Phil Mildren, our executive producer, carrying us, leader of our team. Coming up next again in the Trailblazer Rebel Axe series on the 13th, it'll be Columbine against Chatfield. Best of both squads. On to conference play for Cherry Creek after this win. They'll take on CT coming up on Friday, then Mountain Vista and a big one on Saturday. Weather pending. And Columbine, next for them will be Lewis Palmer. So after starting off with an 8-0 lead, Cherry Creek holds off the Columbine Rebels. Final score 11-9. I'm Marty Cesario saying good night from Lakewood, Colorado.